BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm your thirsty guy for BodyBags, and this week I am doing the 4th installment of Paranormal Activity. It was okay. I mean, alright, so here's the thing, okay? You look at the entire storyline, you know, the first 3 movies and then the rest of the movies that came after, not including the very last one because I think that's supposed to be a reboot, although I could be wrong on that. The storyline for what's going on makes sense except for, like, I guess the 5th one, but he'll take care of that. The storyline for it all seems like, okay, that's a pretty good storyline. Okay, so the 4th one is supposed to be this, right? So there's the first one, then there's the second one, which the second one, I guess you could call that a mini prequel, since it, you know, technically speaking, takes place before the first movie. But then you have the third one, which is a prequel. It takes place 20, 30 years beforehand. And then you have this new one that is the newest one of the bunch, you know. It's supposed to take place like 4 or 5 years after the first one. And so I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't like the best thing ever that I watched, right? I mean, I don't mind watching a good ghost movie, like say Mama or whatever, but something about this kind of movie just was like, okay. And I guess my biggest problem with it is that it's kind of a mix of like Jaws, or not Jaws, but like some kind of like, say Bigfoot movie where you have this cast or whatever, these set of characters, and like the whole goal of the movie is to find the creature or whatever, and that's kind of like Jaws for like the second half of the movie. They're trying to find it out on the boat, right? And so I'm like, I don't know. I mean, this movie, I mean, it's okay, but my biggest problem with this movie, and this was my problem with the third movie, because I watched the second half of the third movie, because I was working, I got home, and someone happened to be watching it, and so I was kind of watching it as well. My biggest problem, and I would imagine this probably carries over for either all or at least almost the rest of them, is that since they're so your main characters are, you know, filming it, right, to make it look, you know, filming everything that's going on in the house to try to get some evidence, and they get evidence, and like there's always that person or people in the family that, you know, was like, oh, you're full of crap, you gotta stop doing that. It's like, the evidence is right there, it's right there, just look at it. And like, they're not even saying that. And then it's like, dude, in real life, I guarantee you, if someone was thinking that, if you knew something was going on, you had evidence, you would probably try to show them. I mean, the third one wasn't that bad because alright, so for the third movie, it wasn't that bad because the characters are trying to, but the other characters like, I don't believe you until something actually happens to her, which is essentially what also happens in the 4th one, except something happens. So I guess that's just my biggest problem with it. It's just that it's like, that's not what would happen in real life unless they were just really that stubborn and didn't want to look at the evidence, which is bullcrap. But I mean, in the end of the day, it's an okay movie with a few references that I really like. Oh my god, I didn't even say what this movie's about. So, carrying on after the first 3 movies, I can't believe I was about to just skip it. You leave understanding, or not, maybe not understanding, but kind of having a semblance of why this entity is following those 2 girls. Or those sisters, Katie and Christy, I think. Or Kirsty, or whatever her name is. I'm pretty sure Katie's the one that gets possessed in the end of the first one. And in the second one, you find out that she takes her sister's baby and just disappears, vanishes out of, you know, thin air kind of thing. And then you understand kind of why the entity's after those 2. Now, maybe not exactly why, but you're like, okay, this isn't something that just happened yesterday. And then the 4th one picks up 5 years later, okay? And there's a new family. Almost feels like it's supposed to be some kind of reboot, but there is a tie-in that ties this in with the other ones, obviously. I won't go and say why. Let's just say that there's this family, and then there's this weird boy that they have to babysit for a little bit. And let's just say that this boy is kind of weird. Anyways, that's all I say. I can't believe I almost forget that. Anyways, I thought it was an okay movie. I mean, here's the thing. All the Paranormal Activity movies have, like, high ceilings. I'm sure the very first one and probably the second one as well are probably, like, really good. But, like, I just hate the idea that, like, you have evidence, but you're not going to go and show. You're not going to show anyone. Like, there's a scene in the very beginning where, like, one of the first things caught on camera, and they show it to the dad. And the dad's like, oh, that's pretty cool. You made that? Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, I couldn't do that. It's like, come on, dude. And then maybe that's why they didn't go and just show the rest of the evidence. But anyways, point is, if you're doing a marathon, yeah, watch this movie. Obviously, a part of this marathon. But, end of the day, this isn't a movie I'd probably watch again unless I'm doing a marathon. Not because it's terrible, but because it's just, it's just one of those things where, like, I'm not going to go and watch a horror movie because, they made stupid decisions unless it's, like, I feel nostalgic. I'm going to go watch the cheesy slasher movie kind of thing, right? Obviously, it's not really that. It's obviously different, but nonetheless, if I had to rate this movie right now, I would probably give this movie a 6.7. Actually, no, 6.6. Not terrible, not great, it's okay. And there's only two things about this movie that I was like, okay, that's actually pretty cool. There's a moment where, like, the main girl, her boyfriend, and her brother are dancing for, like, a few seconds to a song, and the song happened to be Dracula by Rob Zombie. I'm pretty sure it's Dracula. It was a Rob Zombie song, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And the second thing was the ending, and it reminded me a lot of Wreck. And it was just funny how the very ending, you're like, you see stuff going on, and it's just like, oh my god, is this supposed to be like the 5th installment of Wreck? No, it's the 4th installment to Paranormal Activity. But anyway, I'm Sam. I'm your Thursday guy for BodyBags. I did Paranormal Activity 4, and I gave this movie a 6.6. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot what I was gonna do next week. But I'm sure it'll be great. It's one of those Tubi movies. Anyways. Oh, the movie I'm gonna do at the end of the month on for the 24th. Oh my god, that's gonna be a movie. You gotta stay tuned for that. But here's the thing, you gotta stay for next week and the week after. Anyways, point is I'm Sam, and I'll see you next week. Bye.